Hi everyone, my name is Beth. I'm the Steadfast Stitcher, and this is my Flosstube channel where we talk mostly about cross stitch and a few life updates here and there. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're brand new, I do hope you'll hit like and subscribe. And there's an extra reason to subscribe today because I do have a giveaway at the end of this video. This is like take 222. Not really, but I recorded earlier and I did the whole video, and for some reason when I went back to edit it, there was no audio. Nothing. It was a silent movie. I think I've got it fixed now, so let's go. I've got some whips, some haul, plans, and the giveaway at the very end of the video. All right, so let's get started. First up, I put in some work on some Pilgrim from Long Dog Samplers, and this is going to be staying out for a while. I've got my main focus challenge for April is going to be an acrostic puzzle in the Daily 30 group on Facebook. And so this fits in with a couple of the words that are on the acrostic. And this is Pilgrim by Long Dog Samplers. I love this stitch. And as you can see, it's quite large. It's going to be a big one, and it'll probably end up on this wall back here. I am in a different spot today, so sorry about that. Hopefully the lighting is good enough today. All right, so if you've noticed, there's a little thread hanging down. Unfortunately, on this fabric, I poked a very small hole in this. And I don't think you can tell where it's at. But thanks to some Flosstube friends and one of the Facebook stitching groups that I'm in, they recommended pulling out an edge thread from here and then weaving it in to fix the hole. And it looks really good. You can't tell where it's at, but we'll see when I get down there how it works out with that small hole in the fabric, and if how that worked with weaving. That's why I've left the thread that I used to weave that hole up dangling, so that if I need more of it, I can use it. Oh, but you should have seen my face when I did that. Oh, I was so upset. Poke a hole right in my fabric. But, oh, yeah, I almost forgot. I'm using DMC 4245 Mystical Midnight for the majority of this. But in the halo, which is originally a hat on the pattern, but I'm changing it to a halo, I'm using Purple Etoile from DMC, and then the raven is all in Anchor Black. So that is the pattern for it. As you can see, it's huge. But several of the objects on here fit in with the acrostic puzzle that I'm doing. So this is going to be staying out for the month of April. And I love stitching on this one. I'd like to see it done this year, but I don't know if that's realistic or not. We shall see. I am hoping to get several medium projects finished this year and at least one large one, or a BAP, Big Arse project. And that one's a big arse project. In my last video, I talked about EJ from Sunshine Stitchers working on Homewords, and then I'm also working on it as well. So this one stayed out for another 2 weeks. I didn't get a lot of stitchy time on it, but I did work a little bit on it. This is Homewords by Rosewood Manor. I'm using all the called for sulky threads, and I'm stitching it on Opal Ada. So since you last saw it, I got more of the border done around, or not the border, but the squares that are around everything completed, and did 2 more medallions. I love the colors in this one. It's so pretty. And it is a fun stitch. But those medallions are something else. I love how they come out, but you really have to focus on them. And it is a paper pattern, so it's not in Pattern Keeper. So it definitely requires a bit of attention. All right. So what else did I work on? Last video, I asked you all for some help on whether I was going to work on a Christmas Quaker or Christmas house from Galliana Cross Stitch. And we opted to go for the Christmas house by Galliana Cross Stitch. Now this is the monochromatic picture of it. And Galliana's available on Etsy. I will link her shop below. And I opted to use Anchor Candy Apple Red Variegated, which is this one here, and DMC 890 for the greenery and the Christmas tree. Now, these days I start most of my projects in the upper left-hand corner, but this one I started in the middle because I really wanted to work on the fireplace. So this is where I'm at. The last time you saw this, I only had about half of that staircase done, and I didn't have the sofa or most of that wood paneling, which I've completed that since the last time you saw it. So I kind of played with the threads a bit and made the sofa a little bit brighter red and the wood paneling darker. This is a very fun stitch. I'm doing this over 1 on 28 count Lugana. So when this is finished, this is going to fit beautifully into an 8x10 frame. So won't have to do any fancy custom framing with this one, which is nice. And I'm really enjoying the colors of this. Oh, and this was a gift. Needle Minder was a gift from my friend Michelle. So it goes perfect on here. Thank you, Michelle. All right. Next up, let's do my scroll frame, or one of my scroll frames. This is the Witching Hour from Heaven and Earth Designs. Lisa Parker is Lisa Parker's artwork and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's a full coverage piece. It's going to be a big one. And I only put about 500 stitches in it since the last time it was out. But I'm liking the fact that right now it's just blocks of Anchor Black, DMC 3371, and also a DMC Very Dark Gray. So there's not a lot of color changes in this at the moment. That'll come more when I hit the moon and the cat and the books. But right now, working on this border, it's just kind of, you know, I can meditative stitching almost because there's not a lot of color changes. But yeah, so this is going to be a good size piece, and this is on, I'm just using a Frank Edmonds scroll frame, and it's kind of like a Q-snap scroll frame. So it has the clamps at the top and the bottom. I enjoy stitching with this scroll frame, but at some point I will need to invest in like an Omniac or something like that because the Frank Edmonds ones aren't long enough for some of my biggest projects. But this is, I think, the 24-inch one. Yeah, and I like this scroll frame. It works quite well. I don't have it tightened up at the moment, but I think it works very well for what I need it right now. All right, So my last whip to show is from Twin Peak Primitive, and this is Winter Tranquility. This was a free pattern for a short period of time. It's no longer free, but you can get it on Twin Peaks Primitive site on Etsy and purchase it from there, and it's really lovely. It's not that big. A lot of B5200 in the bottom of that. But I think it's very pretty. This is where I'm at with it right now. I'm working on the trees, and it looks like the snow is showing up on here, which when I photograph it to take pictures either for Instagram or one of my challenges, the snow doesn't show up, so it doesn't look like I've done any stitching. One of the times when I had to post a photo, it looked like I hadn't done anything. But yeah, I'm using all the called for colors in this, with the exception of these trees. I didn't have the DMC called for this, so I pulled out Weeks Dye Works Rum Raisin, and I gotta tell you, I'm really liking it because there's a little bit of variegation to the color, which, you know, tree trunks and tree branches are not one solid color, so I think this works out perfectly. And my little needle minder heart tree is from Top Knot Stitcher. And I'm stitching this on 20 count Aida, and the color is Sand. Oh, I'm hoping to finish this. I'd like to finish by the end of April, but definitely I want to try and get this done before the end of May. Very enjoyable stitch, and I'm really glad that I am using the Rum Raisin Weeks Dye Works on it. I think it's really pretty. All right, so before we move on to haul, I'm going to give my little shout out to 2 under 1,000 subscriber Flosstubers. The first is Tess Stitches. Tess, she's so sweet. She's in Australia, and she's got wonderful, big, huge projects. She was the very first one that gave me a shout out right after I started doing my floss tubes. And I'm coming up on 2 years in May when I did my first floss tube. So it was, yeah, Stitch Mania 2020, when we were just, you know, in lockdown, is when I did my very first floss tube. Boy, it's hard to believe it's been 2 years. But Test Stitches was the very first one after my very first video that gave me a shout out. So do visit her channel. She's an absolute doll, and I think you'll really enjoy her channel. The next one is, we all need to like run over to this channel and, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hannah Dowling. She is very close to 1,000 subscribers. She has got big, beautiful, huge projects that she's working on that are just gorgeous, and I love her laugh. It's so adorable. One of the projects that she's working on is she took a photo from her wedding and did it a full coverage cross stitch pattern with it, and I just love seeing her progress on it. She's getting very close to her wedding bouquet, and I can't wait to see how that progresses. But it's stunning, and yeah, do check out her channel because it is very enjoyable, and she's so close to 1,000. Speaking of 1,000 subscribers, at last look, I'm about 140, 150 away. And I do have several giveaways planned for when I hit 1,000. So hopefully that won't be too long from now, but you never know. I have a big thank you to shout out to Needleberry Stitcher and Daydream Stitcher. They've given me shout outs recently, and I've had a good uptick in subscribers, and I really appreciate the shout outs from both of them. Thank you so much. And they've also got terrific channels, so check them out too. I've got lots of floss tubers to recommend because can you be addicted to floss tube? I think I am. I really enjoy watching everybody's FlosStube channels, and I wish I could watch every single one, but there's not enough hours in the day and I work too long. All right, so next up I have one piece of haul, and you probably saw it already in the thumbnail, but I'm going to do a little flip through on it as well because there are 9 patterns in here. And this is from Teresa Kogut. I'm in love with this book. This is Love Lives Here from Teresa Kogut. And there are 9 patterns in here that are just beautiful. This is the Love Lives Here pattern itself. I do plan on doing this one, but I'm going to figure out to just take out the guy, just nix him, and maybe move the lady over a little bit, and maybe add a second cat in there for my cat. My 2 cats, Kiwi and Chloe, who am I very surprised that they have not visited this video yet. But yeah, I am definitely going to be doing that one. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm going to pause for just a second. All right, so let's take a look at Teresa Kogut's book, Love Lives Here. First up is this small sampler, Basket of Joy, and then there's another picture of Love Lives Here. Aren't these pretty? Look at this one. It's got a cat on top of the fence. I love that. Beautiful designs. This is Basket of Joy. And then the Love Lives Here. And then next up, this one on the top I have to do. I love the Saltbox House and the sunflowers. And this one's called Our Whimsy House. That's the top one here. Look at those. So, so pretty. Then this is 1847 sampler. And then the bottom one is called My Big Bird. Look at that little bird with the top hat sitting on top of the big bird. That is adorable. Really, there's nothing in this book that I don't want to stitch, but I think Our Whimsy House is going to be the first one I'm going to go for. And then the other 3 patterns, whoops, I almost dropped the book. Don't do that. Okay, yeah. So on the top is Quilter's Home. Look at that one. And then it's got the quilt patches on the side. So, so pretty. And then another salt box. Yay! I think salt box and brick homes are probably my favorite homes. I, of course, don't live in either right now, but I live in a stone one. That's okay. So I'm thinking I'm going to do the salt box. I might take out the salt box word at the bottom and just leave the rest of it, but I love this. So pretty. And then that third small design is called Tweet House. That's this top one right here. It's called Tweet House. Again, this is such a marvelous book. I got this from Barefoot Needle Arts. I ordered it from them on their website, and it shipped out the very next day. So it was super fast. I know a lot of us are a little sad about Fire Puppies closing down, so that the owners are going to retire. And I'm very happy for the owners, but a little sad that Fire Puppies won't be available. But do check out Barefoot Needle Arts. I will link their store below, their website, and they have got all, the patterns. They've got a beautiful selection of fabrics, some that they dye themselves, and they also make their own project bags, which are lovely. So I will link Barefoot Needle Arts below, and do go check them out. All right, so now going into plans, I am doing an acrostic challenge with the words Easter time, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to bring out a couple patterns that I haven't brought out in a while, but I'm also hoping it'll get in a good bit of work on Pilgrim and also Nevermore by Lila's Studio. So that's my main plans. And then my witching hour piece, I'm doing a focus challenge on that fits in with a couple of things that I'm doing in Facebook groups. So it's going to get double duty. So I can actually double dip the stitches because it's two different groups. All right. Now the last part of my plans is Matter in Hand. Now I showed this as a new purchase in my last video, but since that time, myself, Daydream Stitcher, Daybreak Stitchery, and Cup of Stitches, we're going to be participating in a SAL, or hosting a SAL, starting May 1st. Daydream, Daybreak, and Cup of Stitches all have Flosstube channels, and I will link them below. Do go check them out. They're wonderful videos. I know a lot of you are familiar with Cup of Stitches and her having had to leave the Ukraine. So do go check her out if you haven't already. Daybreak Stitchery is another one, fellow under 1,000 subscriber Flosstube channel, so check her out as well. And Daydream Stitcher, she's just lovely. She is the sweetest person. So this SAL is going to start May 1st, and it's Matter in Hand SAL. And I hope you'll join us. We're also planning on, since this has the word cross stitch in different languages, we're planning on adding cross stitch in Ukrainian to the pattern as well. Now this also brings me to my giveaway. If you would like to participate in the SAL or just add this to your stash, I have an extra pattern of Matter in Hand by Jeannette Douglas. So if you would like to participate in the giveaway, or be entered in the giveaway, I should say, use the word matter down below in the comments. M-A-T-T-E-R. Make sure you're over 18. Make sure you're a subscriber. Don't use the words giveaway or prize or anything like that, because it does tend to attract the spammers. So if you would like to be in the giveaway for Matter in Hand, use the word matter down below. I can't wait to start stitching on this. I've already gotten the called for specialty threads, well, most of them, and I've gotten the fabric. So I am ready to go on this on May 1st. So that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and please do hit like and subscribe if you're brand new, and if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. I really appreciate you being here. Take care, everybody. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.